their residents, and the reason why there is such anger amongst residents is that they are hiding away and not answering questions.
So what are you going to do about it?
Oh, I have now called for the resignation of the leader of the council and of the cabinet, and if the council are unable to resume treatment, then the council itself needs to go, and I've called for the government to send in commissioners.
Clearly the political fallout may continue for quite some time. Sky Siobhan Robbins sent us this report a little earlier.
Many of the residents feel utterly abandoned. Let me just look at the official process for the start. As you heard there, pressure mounting on the leader of this council. The government, number 10, have actually said that the council here should have respected the decision of that judge and held the meeting in public. The London Mayor has said it beggars belief what's happened here. I've been speaking to local Labour councillors here who are currently discussing among themselves whether to try and trigger an emergency council meeting, essentially force the hand to bring another council meeting forward. If they decide to do that, then it will be up to the Mayor of this borough when that could happen. But they say they, along with the residents and their other constituents, need answers, initial answers about what happened at Grenfell. But all the while, many of those who survived that horrific fire are feeling increasingly like they've been left alone. Some of them say they don't understand, they don't even recognise official statements which claim to have been offering them support. They say, show us the families that have been given this money. Some say they're being offered housing outside the borough. Others saying they're simply not being listened to. They don't have contact to 24/7, for example, social workers. They're just not getting the support that they feel that they need. This is Sue Carrow from Justice for Grenfell.
I think the community is not particularly surprised by the actions of the council because it's just more of the same. The community has been disregarded and ignored by the council for years. And their response from the moment that the fire took hold to this point has been to continue to disregard and ignore the community. So frankly, I'm not surprised. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's interesting that the CEO was forced to resign, but the council leader, who makes all the political decisions, who sets the direction of the council, is still in post.
It's not that nothing is being done, of course. We know, for example, that the Red Cross has raised £3.2 million to try and help those affected by the fire. Actually out on the ground today are representatives from that public inquiry that's taking place. They're trying to meet some members of the community just to try and get their views. However, the problem is that as soon as this fire happened, many residents already felt like there was a lack of organisation, a lack of support, and that feeling has really only grown. And the inability, it seems, of official organisations to speak to each other, to offer a proper coordinated package of support is only making things worse. And many of the people who have survived this fire feel they just want answers to simple questions: how many people survived and how many died?
Well, the government has announced that 149 high-rise buildings in 45 local authorities have failed fire safety tests. They've also maintained they are still working closely with Kensington Council despite last night's debacle. Well, let's talk to Sky's Darren McCaffrey at Westminster about the politics of all of this. Of course, the government and the local authority have been in for a lot of criticism over their handling of this. Now the government also criticising the local authority, and certainly from the outside it looks a great big mess, doesn't it?
Been quite vocal, I suppose, to many regards in their criticism of the council, making it clear that they thought that the council last night should have respected the High Court decision, that meeting should have been open to the public and to journalists. Clearly it wasn't. It was shut down at one stage. And Theresa May, spokesperson, making it also clear that in order for democracy to be respected, that it should be accessible, it should be easy, and that Kensington and Chelsea Council were not fulfilling that pledge to the people that they represent. Now, it is also interesting that this is a Conservative council, and that while the government say they are talking to the council continuously, that they are expressing disappointment at the handling of all of this. In regards to the other political parties, we've heard from Labour today talking about that this should be taken out of the hands of Kensington and Chelsea Council and handed over to independent commissioners, and the Liberal Democrats calling for resignations of cabinet members, while Labour councillors on the ground want to see an emergency meeting. Meanwhile, there are also experts meeting about the cladding and the testing of that. As you say, the numbers that we've heard today from the government, nearly 150 have been tested, and there is still a 100% fail rate. We've spoken to one of those experts, Dr. Bonfield, and this is what he had to say.
Very critical at the beginning to do these screening tests, just to see whether there's a risk or not, whether buildings have this flammable cord cladding on or not. Well, many do. So now the question is, what do we do about it? And are there other risks that might happen as a consequence, or are there other materials and other things we need to consider? And that's what we've got to get on with through the expert panel thinking about right now.
So we've now got this situation, Isabel, where we've got strong criticism from a Conservative government of a Conservative council, pressure on the council leader to resign, and indeed also those calls of resignations coming from the opposition parties as well. The question, of course, now is will and how will Kensington and Chelsea react?
OK, Darren, thank you.